Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today, we'll set this Bava Kama Daf Lamed Vav. We are going to begin on Lamed Vav Amud Aleph by the two dots at the top. Hayushneim shel ish echad shteim chayavim. So, if you have two animals that belong to me and they damage one animal, it doesn't matter which animal it was because I own both of them, and therefore I'm going to be chayiv. So, Amalei Rava mi Parziko Ravashi Shmamina. Can we derive from here the fact that it says Shnehem, that Shvarim Tamim Sheziku, that if you have two oxen, they did damage, you can collect from either one, says Rashi. V'im avad echad. Let's say one of the animals gets lost, Kam chaver bim kaimai, the other one comes in its place, L'mishtalim himenu, and you can collect from it. Is that so true? You have two animals. So, okay, fine, I'm a monoshach, I have to pay. But what happens if I lose one of them? It's gone. So, again, how do I know that now it was the one that was lost? Maybe that was the one that did the damage. So, hachmais kinan b'muadin. We're talking about a situation where it's a muad. So, it says Rashi, saif, mishal maliyah, lefikach kol nechasav achroin lipiroyin. Even if one gets lost, it doesn't matter because you have to pay above and beyond the value of the animal anyway. So you have to pay min aliyah. So what's that? Even muadin, if we're talking about a case of a muad, so aim a seifa. Hay echad gadol echad katan. So you have one big, one small animal. Hanizik aimer gadol hizik. So the nizik said it was the big one that did the damage. Hamasik aimer loki ela katan mahizik. So hamutim mechavaraya. Now even muadim my nafli mine. What's the difference? Either way, sof to make Torah Malya boy l'shlume. If we're talking about a muadim, so then you have to pay the full amount anyway. So what's the whole dispute? So I'm only seifa b'tam v'reish muadim. You're right. It has to be that the seifa is talking about a case of a tam, but the reish above is talking about a muad. So I'm only Ravacha Sabu Ravashi ibu muadim. If our Mishnah is talking about where again I had two animals that we say that we're talking about a muad chayavin. Chayiv gavra miboile. I shouldn't say chayavin, which is mashma on the animal. It should be talking a lashon about the person. But still, furthermore, my shneim. What does it mean both? What does it mean both? You're chayiv for the value. El oil batam. Really, we're talking about it's a tam. So it's a case of a tam. So then, can we derive from there that Rabbi Kivahi Yermer Shutvin inhu? Rabbi Kiva says that the nizik actually has partial ownership now of the animal's body. Says Rashi, "Beguf shel shor hilkach avad hashor avad niskai." If the animal is lost, so then also the damage is lost. Hilkach ihavi shneimhu demachayev. If there's both, then you're going to be chayev. The ilays nehutervayu el echad. Let's say one gets lost. There's only one left. Armulei. So the masa can say, "I siraya, bring proof that the animal that I have is the one that did the damage." El Rabbi Shmuel Kibandi Amr Bal Chaim who was the Asik Bey. According to Rabbi Shmuel, who said before, he the whole idea is you owe money. Echad avad echad lo ibn es sechuso. Says according to Rabbi Shmuel, you owe him money. So even if the animal gets lost, you still need to pay him that which is owed to the nizik. So therefore, it could only be according to Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Shmuel would mean nafkamin if it gets lost, because you have to pay the value, not the animal itself. It's not in shutfus. But time back in the Gemara, the istahu l'tervayu. So the only reason why you have to pay is because both animals are still here. You can't push them off. Of a leisel tervayu, let's say one of them is lost. The master can say zil isi raya dehaitura as koch the ashemoch. Prove that this was the animal that did damage to your animal, and then I will pay you. Okay, question 8. Shnei shvarim tamin shel ish echad shenogach echad mehem v'yada mi hanogech u'barach echad. One runs away. Mahadinu madua. Okay. So Rabbi Akiva to yochlat ashor, where the person has ownership of the ox, he's a partner, so therefore he loses out. Because the Masi could always say, prove to me that the animal that I still have, not the one that ran away. I think the one that ran away is the one that did the damage. But you want to prove that the one that I have is the one that did the damage, so you got to prove it. According to Rabbi Shmuel, Bal Chayvu, you owe money, like it's a debt. Zuzi Hudiasik Bay, you owe money. Just because the animal is lost doesn't really affect anything. You would still have to. You would still be responsible to pay. We're now in the fourth parak. So you have an ox that gored many oxen, 4 or 5, and one after the other. So the din is Yeshalim acharon shebehen. You pay the acharon, the last one. What does that mean? It says Rashi. All of these animals we're talking about is a tam. The mishtalem megufo. So you only pay the value of the body of the masik's animal. The hechidami, keep going. Rashor v'nagach v'rashor v'loy nagach. You saw an ox and it gored. You saw another ox and it didn't gore. V'rashor v'nagach v'yachach negi chashniya. Gored a second time. Rabbe's pamim ogimel shor. It gored again. V'lo nagach. But they saw another one didn't gore. They feel muid with sirugin. In this situation, it's not consecutive damages because you can see it's not continuously damaging. Leika deshor ein nasamuid. El inke nakach hagimel negichos b'shloisha shirohe kasidron. Very interesting. This is a tremendous chiddush. The only time there's a din of it being a muid is if it consecutively keeps, every time it sees an ox, it gores. But if it stops, so then in this situation, you're not going to be paying nezek shalim, but rather you only have to pay chati nezek. Rashi says, chati nezek tchil la'acharin. This is what it means. Yisham la'acharin shemehen. You pay the last one first. Gemara is going to explain according to who's this like. V'im yeshlo moiser. If let's say after the last one was paid, you still have leftover monies for the value of this animal, then you should do the one before it. But again, the last one gets paid first. It's hard to understand why. You would think the one, there's a chiyuv on the damages first, should be getting first. But for whatever reason, we go backwards. Shimon Omer, Shor Shava Masayim, Shanaga Shor Shava Masayim. We had this. You have an ox who's a mazik, which is worth 200, damaged an ox which is 200, and it killed it. And there's no residual value. It's worth 0 now, so you can't collect on the carcass of the mazik shore. Zen noitel mana v'zem noitel mana. Pashit tzchati nezek. So each one gets half. Chaz v'nagach shor acher. Let's say the animal gores another animal. Shava masayim, which is worth 200. Hachar noitel mana. So the last one gets 100. B'shlafanav, and the one before it zen noitel chamishim zuz v'zen noitel chamishim zuz. So one gets 50, and the owner takes 50. Okay, now why is all this? And so Rashi says this is accordance to Rabbi Akiva that says shutvaninhu, that when you do damage, then the owner is a partial owner now of this mazik's animal. It gores another animal which is 200. So the last one gets 100, which is half. The one before gets 50, and the before dinner zahav. They get the dinner zahav. Rashi says, which is esem b'chamisha dinarim kesa, which is 25. Okay, this whole mission needs to be explained and understood at greater length. Says the Gemara, Masnisin, money. Our Mishnah, who is this like? What we're going to see is like Rameir, Delok Rabbi Shmuel, Udok Rabbi Kiva. It's not like Rabbi Shmuel or Rabbi Kiva. Now, the Rabbi Shmuel, the Amar Bali Chayvais, then who the creditor is owed to the nizik. The mazik owes money to the nizik. So, if that's the case, L'chayra, Hai acharon niskar, rishon niskar meboile. Again, if it's a loan, so whenever there's a shibud on a loan, it's totally on who you owe first. So you would say pumfakert. You would say that the person's animal that was damaged first, they're the one should collect first. That's because Lafi the Shita Rabbi Shmuel, the whole notion of damages is your animal damaged, so now we have to collect, and that's how you would collect. First one's first, not last. So it can't be like him. Okay, Ikra Rabbi Akiva says Rashi, V'acharin Yasid, the last one who's out, She'ein Shahari Ein Rishon Shutav Boy Shedhei Shmirasu Alav L'Schaim and Nezikin. The point is that if you have no owner, the nizik doesn't own the animal. So if, let's say, afterwards the animal damages again, so you can say, well, it's also the mazik and the nizik are partners, so therefore the nizik's also responsible for the damages. But that's not where Mishmul holds. His is all totally on a loan. If, let's say, someone owes money, so they're the ones the first one's supposed to get. The nizik can say to the Baal Chayiv, Mahai Torah the Askin Mine Mishtalmena, the animal that this animal I should collect from. Again, the first creditor is the one who collects first, not the last one first. He can get other possessions. So it's not that the nizik also becomes the mazik because he's a partner in ownership of the animal after the first time it gored his animal, so now he's a partner in this animal, so if it gores again, so it's kind of the nizik's fault now. But that's not the reality, partially, that's not the reality over here. Here we're talking about that it's like a regular loan. It's a debt, and therefore you should pay off the first debt first. So it can't be Rabbi Shmuel. So here that the nizik is now partners. So hi yeshloi Meiser, we said if there's extra money as we continue to Lam and Vav and Beis, what do we say if, let's say, there's extra after paying the last one? So it says Yaser Lishlafanav. So Laklum Boile, the last one is owed by all partners. If you want to hold like Rabbi Akiva, so how do you understand this? So again, if in fact the nizik is a partner, so now he's also responsible if this animal damages another person, so then it makes sense why the last person should be paid, because the last person is the only nizik, there's no mazik over here. So there's only, he's only, a party who was damaged. But then why is it Yaser Lishlafanav Lakulam Miboile? The last one is owed by all partners. That's how it should say. So Amaravel Olam Rabbi Shmuel. So Rabbi Shmuel, how can it be like Rabbi Shmuel? So if that's the case, if it's like Rabbi Shmuel, you should pay last one, first. With the kashlach niskar rishon niskar miboile, should pay the first one first. Hachmai skin, and why are we paying the last one first? Nizik ligvoi simanu. It's because the nizik was typhosit. So really, you're right. You should normally pay the first one first. But what happens if he was typhus? If, let's say, he grabbed onto it. So in this situation, Nasalev Kashem Sachar, when Nizakin. Now he takes upon himself like he's a Shemer Sachar on this animal that he has. So each Nizik is grabbing it from the previous one. But now the Nizik is a Shemer Sachar. And when it damages, he was at fault for not watching it properly. So therefore, that's the reason why the last one should get it. Says Rashi, Kigoin Shahaya Niskoshel Revi Maruba Mishel Chami. Okay, so we didn't get to that. So it should say Yaksel Balam. So Maravina Hakakatani. Im Yeshloi Maisar Benizakin, and that's the key word. If there's more money in the damages, Yakser Lishla Fanav. Then it goes back to the one before. V'chein Kiyasa Rav and Rav Yochim Mishum Pshias Shaimrin Naguba. This is all connected because of the person who was typhus. He's a shemer sacher, and he was poisheya in not guarding it properly. Okay, says Rashi, Kigain, Shainisko shel Revia, the damage of the fourth was Maruba Mishal Chamisha, was more than the fifth. Kigain, Shor shel Revia Shavamana, it's worth 100, and Yeshul B'mazik Chatzimana, so he gets half. V'shel Chamishi Shavanun, but the fifth one was only 50. The Ein Loi Elma Ela Dinner Zav, he gets 25. Yasser Dinner Zav, the other 25, Shulfanav, the Chen Kulam, Niska Shal Rishon, Yosser Al Shal Acharin. If the first one was more than the last one. Okay. So again, the reason why is because, it's like the Shita Rabbi Shmuel, is because of the Pshia of the Nizik, who was Tafus, and he was really a Shemer Sacher, and therefore he's the one who was Chayiv for, because he didn't guard it properly. So Mamai Kimta. How are we establishing our mission for Rabbi Shmuel? You have an animal which is 200, gores an animal which is 200, then the veil is worthless, each one gets 100. Fine. So now let's say it gores another animal, which is Shava Masayim. So so the last one gets 100. Zuz was in the Ramishim Zuz. One gets 50, one gets 50. So then again, a third time it gores another animal which is 200. So the last one gets the 100. Zuz gets 50. So Atan Rabbi Kiva. This sounds more like the Shita of Rabbi Kiva, that the reason why it's divided this way is because the Nizik is now considered to be a partner in this mazik's animal. So Rabbi Kiva, so are we in? Yeah, that's true. Leave the Mishnah alone, and go after me. Okay. In more now, coming out. Tanan Hasam. Let's say a person shouts into the ear of his friend, or blows something into his friend's ear. Noisenloi sella. The din is you have to give a sella, which is the value of the boishes, which does not include the tsar nezek ripoi, if that also takes place. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Mishum, Rabbi Yosef Glili, mana. The amount that is paid is a mana. Hahu gavre de takal chavre. There's a person who blew this into someone's face, into their ear. Shalch Rav Tovia Bar Masla coming to Rav Yosef. Selvat Suri. Selvat Suri Tanan or Sel Medina. That's actually in the beginning of Kedushin. So is it a Sel Suri, which is 4 zuz, or is it Sel Medina, which is a Shminis Shibasel, 1/8 of a Sel Suri, which is only Chatzi dinner. The difference between between Suri and Medina is 1/8. So which one is it? So how much does it have to pay? So Amalei Tini Sua. We actually learned it in our Mishnah. Ushnaim Harishainim Dinner Zahav. This is the first ones get a dinner Zahav. Now the Isach Tani Tana Sela Medina Niflig Venisne Treyasir Vesela. It should actually say 12.5 dinarim. He could have, of course, gone further to another shore, damaging to split it further. So fine. That's not a raya though, because the Tana is not like a peddler that it just keeps peddling its wares. So yeah, it could have mentioned another case as a spin-off to break it down further, but that's not a raya. Says Rashi, "V'sel Medina hu chati dinner el shmamino lo tani tana sel Medina." Fine. So my havel. So what's the maskana? So pashtu amaha the Yomi Rabbi Yehuda Marav kol kesef. This is in Kedushin why there's a woman gets a dinner, shava dinner. Kol kesef ha'amr b'Torah kesef suri. Anytime you find money mentioned in the Torah, it's always referring to kesef suri, which is the larger amount. So the very kesef medina. We're dealing with the Rabbanan, that's kesef medina. And Rashi says, V'shel divrei kigoyin hai de shir de Rabbanan hu. For example, these cases is a shir de Rabbanan. So in fact, the din is it's kesef medina. Arbalehu gavra. So a person said, Hoyel upalga de zuzahu, since it's only half a zuz, which again is Kesef Medina, will beina nitve laniyim. I don't want this half dinner for it to be given to the aniyim. So Hadar Aimerle Nes Vinihili, so give it to me. Hazel the every bein nafshoy. Or Rav Yosef, Kvar Zachu be'aniyim, the niyim already were zaychet. V'aval gav the lake aniyim, hacha anan yad aniyim anan. Even though it's true, there's no aniyim here. It doesn't matter. They still, I'm like the yad of the aniyim, says Rashi, because Rav Yosef was the gabai for aniyim, as we're going to see later on in Daf Tzadi Gimel in this Masechta. Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel, Yisayimim, as we continue to Lamed Zayin and Aleph, Ain't Srichen Pruzbul. When it comes to Yisayimim, they do not need a Pruzbul. What does that mean? So normally, when it comes to Shemitah's Ksofim, it cancels out the loans. However, a Pruzbul comes along, and therefore the Shemitah is not Mishamet. So says Rashi, B'lav Hachi, if it wasn't for this din, Lo Mishama Shvius, Lo Chayv Shulahen, the Shemitah would not cancel it out. The Anan Yadaihu Diasmi Anan, we know that we are Yisayimim, V'rami Lahafuche B'suchayu, and it's upon us to look after the schusim for the aniyim. We always have to look out for the aniyim. Hilkach, Shtar Shulahen, all their documents is concerned lebeistin dam. It's keilu like it's concerned lebeistin, and therefore something which is muscle lebeistin is considered like a pruzbul. L'tanan a ma'aser shtaras lebeistin in mashmitin. So even this is a Gemara Makos also that if you have a shtar which was given over to lebeistin, it's only considered like a private loan. So a pruzbul makes it only like a private loan, and therefore so too when you have a shtar which is given over to lebeistin, it's the same thing. So therefore, when it comes to the Yisayimim, they don't need a pruzbul because it's considered ki'ilu, all their shtaros is as though they were Maisel Lebeistin. V'chein Tanu Rambam Bar Chama, Yisayimim in Srichen pruzbul, Yisayimim do not need a pruzbul. Rabbi Gamliel Beis Dinu Avihim Shel Yisayimim Hayin, because they are the Beis Dinu Avihim Shel Yisayimim. So again, this is a raya that his involvement to helping the Yisayimim, and also just in general, that again we look out for them. Hanan Bisha, there was a person by the name of Hanan Bisha, the wicked Hanan, Takulelahu Gavra, so he blew into this guy's ear. I was going to Rav Huna. I want to know how much he should pay. Again, because it's Kes Medina, so you only pay half a zuz. Habile Zuzah Makkah. All he had was a Zuzah Makkah, which the as Rashi says, Pchusa Tsurasoi. The mint, the picture on the coin was worn out. He wanted to be able to give him half of it. And no one exchanged it. So so he hit him again. He ended up giving it to him. So basically, this coin had greater value because he had a zuz, and because he wanted to exchange it because he only had to give half a zuz. But no one wanted to deal with him, so he said, okay, I'll hit you a second time, and therefore he ended up paying him twice. Again, this is obviously not the nicest person. Okay, we're going to stop there. Question 9. Madua ha'yisayimim ein on srichen pruzbul. So he says, Tianan yadaihu diasmi, because we're like the hands of the yisayimim, durami alon lafuchi b'suchayu, we're always trying to find a schus for them. Hilka shtar shalhen k'masurin lebeistin. Their shtaros is considered like it was given over in beistin. Question TA 24. An ox that gored 4 or 5 different animals. Who has to watch the shore? So it doesn't damage. The email balim or al kulam. Is it the actual owner or all these other people? Umas stadimazet. Umatay chiv hashmir hu rak al charin. When is the shmir only on the last one? So the answer is that according to Rabbi Kiva, because you're like a shotif, so then the din is that you are it's on you. It's on everyone. However, according to the Shita of Rabbi Shmuel, who says it's just like a regular loan. So in that situation, this is TA 24. According to Rabbi Shmuel, it's all he does is owe money, so it's on the bottom. However, if the last one is typhus, onto it, so then it's going to be on the last person who is going to be responsible. TA 24, because he's like a shomer on the matter. Okay. TB 25. Madua Hayisim in Srich and Pruzbul, which I already did. Let's see what I wrote. TB 25. Let's see if I gave a good answer. This is on the Lamed Zion, Amud Aleph. Sheish Davar Yadua Shehem Srichin Habastin B'Shvil Tainis Haboy Hilkach Zek Kamo Shtar Shemusel Bastin Dami. Probably got full credit. Adkan.